Call is now being recorded.
Well, Carol Burnett, just a few weeks ago, you picked up your 24th Emmy nomination in your career. Tell us about getting that news and what it means to you.
Well, it means a lot to think that, after the show's 50 years old, and I'm just amazed. It's like the Energizer Bunny. It just keeps on going, and so it's a thrill. We never would have thought that this would happen 50 years ago. And in fact, we never would have thought we're going to last one season when we first went on, because the network really didn't have much faith in us, and because they said that comedy variety is a man's game, and there hadn't been a woman that had a weekly comedy variety show. So they really didn't, have much faith in us. And we didn't. We just knew we were going to at least get 30 shows out of the contract that I had, and that would have been wonderful. But as luck and the fates would have it, thank goodness, we went longer than 30 shows.
I have so many of your DVDs that you put out over the years, and I've watched them many times. Plus the syndication show that you have. How did you know so early on that Harvey Korman was going to be such a integral part and a funny part of your show?
Well, we had seen him on the Danny Kaye show. He was like Carl Reiner was to Sid Caesar, Harvey was to Danny Kaye. And so when we were going to go on the air in September of 1967, Danny's show had been canceled. So that meant that Harvey was free, and we kept saying, oh, gosh, we need a Harvey Korman. We need a Harvey Korman. Then finally we said, duh, the penny dropped. We said, let's get the Harvey Korman. And so we had a call into his agent, but I was leaving CBS going into the parking lot this one afternoon to get my car, and Harvey was going to get his car, and I waved to him. We'd never met, and I waved to him, and he smiled and waved back, and I think I practically attacked him in the parking lot. I said, you've just got to be on our show. Please, 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 you've just got to be on our show. And that's how we got him.
And Tim Conway guest starred for a long time, but was not a regular right away. Is that correct?
Who?
Tim Conway.
Oh, Tim, yes. Because he had some shows of his own. And so we had him on as a semi-regular, up to the 9th year. And then finally we signed him on for every week. But he was on maybe once or twice a month when I had my show, when we first started. And it just worked out so great, and he and Harvey had never worked together before that, and they just became this fantastic team, and had such great chemistry together that it was just, it was a joy to watch. And Tim, oh, bless him, he's fearless when it comes to his comedy. He'll come up with stuff, and he'll keep going until the audience just can't laugh anymore, his timing is perfect, and people think that we broke each other up a lot, all the time, but that's not true. It was really a very little amount of time that Harvey, Harvey and Tim, and we would break up. It was usually Tim's fault because he'd be doing shtick that he hadn't done in rehearsal. He would save it for the air show, when we were in front of an audience. And I would dare anybody to try to keep it together when Tim got on a roll like that, And but if you watch all 276 shows, you will see that we did not break up as many. People just remember it because it stood out so much.
Right. As you were putting together the 2-hour special, what was the most difficult part of that?
Well, the most difficult part, it was that there was just a basket load of goodies because they sent out invitations to all of these stars, would they come on and talk about the show. and they sent out so many of them, and they all said yes. And I thought, oh my God, how are we going to service all of these people who are going to come on and talk about the show and still have time to show the clips that we were talking about, But it worked out. I mean, it was just a shower of all of these people. That was so I was overcome, that everybody would say yes, and then we've got Jim Carrey and Maya Rudolph and Amy and Harry Connick Jr. and Kristen Chet, all of them. It was just, I was, let me put it this way, I was starstruck.
One thing I love about this year's Emmys is so many of the people that were on your special, including some of the ones you just named, and Bill Hader and Martin Short, they're all Emmy nominees this year.
I know. I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled for them.
What was the most fun part about putting the special together?
Oh, gosh. The most fun part, I guess, was just reminiscing and seeing what some of these people, what was some of their favorites, like Bill Hader, when we talked to him about coming on in the segment about Harvey. He talked about one of his favorite sketches that Harvey did. So we were able to get that sketch, get a scene from that, and show where he played the Wolf Man.
Right.
Yeah, and that was one of Bill's favorites, and then to have, Tim was under the weather and couldn't be there, but to see Vicki again and of course we see her and her husband fairly often, and have dinner with them, but to, see her on that stage where we did the show and to reminisce, and Bob Mackey and Lyle, and, it's, you can get a little nostalgic about it, and you think, where did the time go?
Last time I was over at the CBS studios, which is where you recorded, the entrance now for all of the celebrities that come there every day is the Carol Burnett entrance.
Yes.
I'm wondering, did you have to show any kind of an ID card to come in at it? Or did you just point at the wall?
Yeah, and I just stand by the picture.
That's right.
Yeah.
Just my ID card.
Yeah, right. That was a thrill for me to have that artist entrance named after me. I was really touched by that. That was the best stage ever. Chris, that stage 33 is the best stage in town to do a show from, because you've been to tapings where they've been in those bleachers.
Right.
Right. Where you look down on the show and all the cameras are in the way. Well, Studio 33, it's like a little theater, and the cameras are not in the way, and so you are really playing to the live audience in the theater. It's perfect, and it's perfect for comedy. And so anytime I would ever do a special, something, I would want to go back to stage 33.
What would it mean to you if you won another Emmy Award this year? You already have 6 of them, 3 for producing and 3 for acting. What would this one mean?
Oh, wow. Well, again, it's like really the cherry on top of the sundae. Who would have thought? So that's it's kind of the culmination of all those years, and so that means a lot, So that would be lovely,
Your first one was for variety performance on the Gary Moore Show.
Right.
What did that? You were already becoming so popular on that show, but what did the Emmy Award itself mean for you and your career?
Well, it just kind of, I guess, maybe, I don't know. Maybe it means that you have arrived at a certain level, and I certainly didn't expect to win. I remember I was shocked when my name was called, and that was it's a big thrill, because I used to watch the Emmys, and like the Oscars and things like that, and just to think, oh my gosh, I've got, and the one I've got that said, for the Gary Moore show, they misspelled Gary's name.
Oh, no.
On the award, yeah, they made it Gary, and he had 2 R's in his name, and they wanted me to give it back to fix it, and I said, no, I'm going to keep this.
Even more valuable that way. Got that
yeah, right. Oh my God.
One of your people you just mentioned, or that was that you know pretty well, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, when she got her star on the Walk of Fame a couple of years ago, they misspelled her name.
No, really?
They fixed it later, but she seemed actually thrilled by it, kind of like you with your award, almost like this is kind of a badge of honor that this mistake is here, at least for the moment.
I know. It was, to me, it's very funny. So of course I still have it. It's in my office.
When you won the 3 for series, I'm guessing that had to mean even more to you, because that, even though you get the trophy and your husband Joe got a trophy, it meant something probably to the whole cast and crew that the show won.
Oh, sure. Oh, definitely. It was kind of an odd thing where they could, if the show won, the people who headed the show would get an Emmy. But you couldn't be nominated for a separate Emmy for performing if it was a variety show. In other words, I couldn't be up as a performer in comedy variety separate from my show. So if Laugh-In won, then Ronan Martin would automatically get an Emmy.
Yeah, they're still doing that now. They stopped for a while, but they switched back to that where if your name is in the title, you automatically are part of the nomination.
Yeah, but for instance, if Bob Newhart was nominated, but the Newhart show wasn't, that's fine.
Right, on the comedy and the drama.
It was just comedy variety where it had to be all in one.
The variety series they've done that on.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Tell me, I want to ask about a couple of other big honors in your career. I've got all of these recorded, so I watch them quite regularly. The year you went into the TV Hall of Fame was only the second year that even existed, so you remain to this day one of the youngest people inducted into the TV Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Tell us about getting the news of that and then that evening.
Well, it was wonderful because there was Lucy, and she was kind of my mentor, and she, I believe, was the one who presented it to me, and that was, of course, a thrill. And she and I were very close. And
you had presented her the year before on the first.
Yeah.
I remember yours so well because I probably watched it 20 times. Tom Selleck opens it up.
Right.
And she finishes it off. She gives you the award. But they brought in so many people from your career, like Gary Moore.
Yeah.
And his name is escaping me. The ventriloquist.
Paul Winchell.
Paul Winchell and Beverly Sills and your Carol Burnett co-stars. You just seemed so touched that they were all there together.
Oh, totally. Because I didn't know what the evening was going to be. They don't tell you. So I was even surprised when Tom Selleck walked out and was kind of the MC of my segment. And so that was lovely. And I didn't know Beverly was going to be there, or So of course I was quite moved about that.
It was a big surprise party for you that night.
Yeah, it was. It was.
And now they've got all of I was at the TV Academy a couple of months ago, and they've got that new plaza with all of your statues and busts out there. That's such nice company to be in.
Oh, I should say. But I've never gotten over being starstruck. So
was there ever a star that you really went after to be on the Carol Burnett show, and for some reason or another it just didn't work out? Well,
we wanted, we kind of like to get oddballs. By that I mean people you wouldn't expect to do a variety show. And we went after Betty Davis. But because she wanted more money than we were paying our other guest stars, because we had a set fee for our guest stars, so Joe, and they wouldn't go above that, so she didn't do it, but she was in a salute to me for the not the Friars, I forget the gosh years ago she was at a party, all-star party for Carol Burnett, and she was there with Jimmy Stewart and Fred Astaire, and oh my gosh, that was a thrill. And,
speaking of Jimmy Stewart, I have never seen you more surprised than
oh my God,
finale when he showed up.
Oh my God. Well, I had loved him ever since I was 3 years old. I remember my grandmother and I going to the movies in San Antonio, and I couldn't have been more than 3 or 4, because in sitting in the theater, my feet didn't touch the floor. So I was that little. And I just remember seeing this tall, lanky guy standing up in a scene in the movie, it was a nightclub, and he was with some pretty lady. It could have been, who knows, Katharine Hepburn or anybody. And I looked at him and I thought, oh my God, he's my friend. I don't know. I just went, I know him. And I told my grandmother on the way home, I said, Nanny, I know him. He's my friend. I haven't met him yet, but he's my friend. She said, that's nice. Drink your Ovaltine, And years later, it came true that he did become my friend. And I met him through George Kennedy, who was a friend of his, a wonderful actor. And George and I had done a show together, and we were friends. And George and his wife arranged to have dinner with Jimmy and his wife, Gloria, and Joe and me. And, I had met him years before that, but I won't go into that whole story. But then I remember we had a party at our house, and we invited a bunch of people, and Jimmy and Gloria, and, when they got there, Gloria said, don't be upset if Jimmy wants to leave pretty soon after dinner. He likes to be in bed by 10 o'clock. And I said, look, I'm just thrilled you're here, But some of the other guests at the party were Steve Lawrence, Edie Gourmet, Joe Stafford, her husband, Mel Torme. And at the end of dinner, we all went into the family room and sat down to the piano, and all these singers started singing. It was amazing. And Jimmy, instead of going home, he got up and joined the singers. And he sang with them, all the standards and everything, and and Gloria, they didn't leave till midnight. And Gloria called me the next day, and she said, I've never seen him have such fun at a party. If you ever have one of these again, you got to let us know.
Wow, that's the ultimate compliment, isn't it?
Tell me, yeah. So, when he surprised me, I had no idea. But they hid him all day in a dressing room, to keep him out of my sight, so that it would be a total surprise. So when Tim started in on saying there's this guy that's been wanting to be on the show, he's backstage, I thought Tim had been drinking.
Then they opened the curtain.
They opened the curtain, and oh my heavens! And then, you know what? I remember I didn't even introduce him, but I knew everybody knew who he was. I was so blown away. I didn't even say, ladies and gentlemen, Jimmy Stewart. I just stood there and blubbered.
Well, one other honor I want to ask you about. You presented him his Kennedy Center honor.
Yeah.
You're also part of the one for Julie Andrews, and then in 2003 you got your own. That is still I've watched every Kennedy Center honors, and I've watched your segment probably more than anybody's. One of the most innovative and creative Kennedy Center honors they have ever done.
Well, that was done by our special material writers, with whom I've worked for more than 50 years, Ken Welch and his wife, Mitzi Welch. And Ken Welch actually was one of the writers of Julie and Carol at Carnegie Hall, along with Mike Nichols. And Kenny used to be my vocal coach. And he wrote the original my song that I did, The Blue Angel. I Made a Fool of Myself over John Foster Dulles. And Ken wrote that. And then he and his wife Mitzi wrote all of our special. They wrote the special with Beverly Sills. The rest of the stuff that I did with Julie, Dolly and Carol at the Grand Ole Opry, the show I did with Placido Domingo, called Burnett Discovers Domingo, and Ken and Mitzi wrote all of that, and they put together the whole idea of the Kennedy Center Honors for me, which, of course, was a surprise. I had no idea all those people were going to be there.
And then to wear the Bob Mackie costumes, I mean, that was so wonderful. And you know, you've seen a lot of Kennedy Center Honors. They never really close. The last segment is always some person that's got a lot of songs in their catalog.
Yeah,
a rock star or a pop star or something. So to close on a comedic actor like yourself was just wonderful.
Oh, I was so thrilled. In fact, I heard from after that, I forget who told me that they were going to put me on second, but once they saw at the rehearsal what it was going to be, they decided because of all the production value and all the costumes and the way it looked and, so forth, that they would close the show with that.
Well, you were laughing, and then when Bernadette Peters comes out, and then Julie sings a little bit, and then everybody's on stage, you seemed quite touched.
Oh my gosh, you'd have to be. It was. I love the Kennedy Center Honors. In fact, Reba is going to get one this year. Reba McEntire.
Yes, and another Bob Mackie friend of yours, Cher, is getting it too. That's
right. And so Reba and we exchange emails every once in a while. So yesterday she said, "What do I wear? what am I supposed to pack? I forget. Is it formal? What did you wear? All of that stuff." So I emailed her back and told her, what I remembered that we had to do because there would be a luncheon, there would be a breakfast, and then there would be the State Department dinner and then the show the next night. So those are two formal things, gowns that she should wear. The rest is kind of normal, everyday stuff, And I said, you're going to have a ball because you don't have to give a speech. You don't have to sing. You don't have to do a tap dance. All you have to do is smile, eat, and wave. You don't have to do anything.
Enjoy all of the weekend.
There's no pressure to get up and do a thank you speech or do anything. You just kind of and as I said, all these meals that you go to, and then the evening, and it's just and it's fun to sit up there in the box with the rest of everybody.
Well, listen, this has been so thrilling for me. You just can't even know. I've watched your show and your episodes and your movies. So many great movies we didn't even get a chance to talk about. And this is a real great thrill for me, and we're so happy you're nominated again. I hope we see you on the red carpet at the Emmys in a few weeks.
Oh, well, I'll be there. Actually, we're not in the main deal. We're in the creative one.
Right, the creative arts. That's right.
Yeah.
You did a show last year. You and Norman Lear were together, right?
Yeah, we presented. We presented the one to Veep, to Julia.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Well, I hope we'll see you on the red carpet at the Creative Arts, and good luck with the nomination. It would be so wonderful to see you back up there with another trophy in your hand.
Oh, thank you so much, Chris.